Hey guys, welcome back. Here we are in the tackle room. Today's video is going to talk a little bit about the recent order that I got from Tackle Warehouse. I took advantage of their Black Friday sale and saved 20% off on all these different lures. And so we're not going to talk about all of them today. I'm going to have Alex on, and I got Alex to pick out 3 different lures, and we're going to talk about the 3 different items that I bought and talk a little bit about why I chose what I got. And so if this is something that you're interested in, be sure to stay tuned. All right, as you can see, I've got Alex join with me tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit of tackle. We're going to try not to ramble a whole lot. That's why I got Alex to choose 3 lures. Alex, what do you think about my big old Tackle Warehouse shipment there?
Pretty exciting, man. I know that's one of the better days of the week usually when that Tackle Warehouse box shows up. So pretty cool to see.
Yeah, man. I feel like it was pretty quick too. You know, I ordered some stuff from Tackle Warehouse to take advantage of the 20% sale, and I think it's like November 29th, and it's already here. So I feel like sometimes Tackle Warehouse does a really good job with, shipping their stuff. Sometimes a little bit slower.
Yeah, I mean they do as good as anybody. And the thing I like about their customer service is they let you know pretty quickly when there's an update on your order. So if
Yeah, man.
something's
It's
out
like
of stock or it ships, you get an email right away. I know some retailers are not good about that. Processing times are longer with other places. So yeah, I love ordering from Tackle Warehouse.
cool. Well, why don't we go ahead and jump right into it? Like I said, I got you to pick out 3 lures, and what I planned on doing is maybe we can kind of talk about why I chose the items, and then we can kind of talk about like some of the stuff that you use on your side and why. And so I wanted to start off with the Berkeley fluorocarbon line. I know it's nothing too exciting to start off with, but you know it's one of those things that's connected to all your lures. And so, have you ever used any copolymer line? Or are you strictly a fluorocarbon braid and mono guy?
Yeah, that's why I picked it out when you sent that to me because I had never seen it before. So I'm pretty much a Cigar Fluoro braid guy. I'll use mono sometimes, but pretty much fluoro only if I'm on that side of things.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this show up on the camera easily, but I picked out a 10 and 12 pound test. And so the reason I use these smaller lines is I actually use this line for a crankbait. And I know ideally a lot of times I use fluorocarbon because fluorocarbon will sink and you can get that bait a little bit deeper. But from the tests that I've done, like I don't feel like copolymer floats that much more. I feel like I can get the copolymer line just down as deep, and it's a lot more affordable. I don't have the price list in front of me, but I want to say like, uh, what is this? How many yards is this? 300 yards of like 10-pound copolymer. It's like $10, and then it's 20% off of that. So another $2 off. So I want to say I paid $8 for, 300 yards. Whereas I feel like fluorocarbon is probably like 3 times that. And
Yeah,
what stinks about fluorocarbon, I don't know if you ever had this, and probably not because you don't never backlash, but a lot of times, when I'm throwing that crankbait against the wind, even with my Shimano Corrado DC, or maybe it's downwind, sometimes you still get backlash. And with that fluorocarbon, I feel like it's real hard. And so you can pick it out, but then sometimes it kinks. And then next thing you know, you send that crankbait and that line just breaks, and it's like, well, dang. So I'm not
yeah.
sure if you ever had that experience or not with, with some of your fluorocarbon line.
Listen, man, I fish, so I backlash. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Try to stay away from that, of course. But even in a tournament video a couple months ago, this is back in the spring, I had a really bad backlash on a crankbait, just like you're saying. I
Yeah.
sent it a little too hard and just got a really bad backlash. So it definitely happens. But I will say I've tried several different brands of fluorocarbon, and everybody has their own different lines and what they like. And obviously, I'm not sponsored by them, but the Cigar line that I use, the Invisex stuff, it's amazing at not getting kinked up like that. It's soft enough that it doesn't usually do that in my experience, but it's still got that really good strength of the fluoro.
Oh, nice. So if people missed that, would you say what was the line again?
Cigar Invisex. So
Is that
it's
the one that's like the yellow label?
box at the
Yeah.
store. Yeah, it's the yellow and the red line. So the other the red box.
It's like red
I
label.
think that's called a Brazex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Red Label stuff is also really good if you're looking for a little bit of a more friendly price point. But especially when I'm spooling up for tournaments, man, it's that InvizX is my best friend. So.
Yeah. So before we switch to talk a little bit about crankbaits, on your line size preference when you're cranking, like what size line do you like to use?
Well, most of the time I'm fishing out of the back of the boat, so I can't have. I'd love to have 5 or 6 crankbait rods just to be
Yeah.
able to switch out. If I'm square billing in laydowns, I'm gonna want to have something different than if I'm trying to crank on deep points. But in my experience, I found that 12 pound that 12 pound InvizX is just the most versatile because I don't find issues getting deeper with like those deeper crankbaits. The 15 plus divers.
Yeah.
And then I also don't have problems breaking off in limbs and stuff like that. I mean, fishing Dale Hollow in a tournament this year, I was cranking really heavy wood, and that 12 pound just did an awesome job. So that's kind of my favorite versatile size.
Gotcha. That's a great segue into talking a little about crankbaits. And so I noticed that the crankbait that you chose for me to kind of talk a little bit about is the Spro rock crawlers. See if that shows up. Do you fish much with these guys?
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I have not thrown them a ton quite yet, but I took one out to the river this past weekend and caught a couple fish on it. I like them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can
Definitely.
tell, but I feel like it has a little bit more erratic action than like a DT.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's definitely different. I especially get accustomed to that DT action and feeling how it vibrates the end of that rod. And it is different, but I mean, it's a very popular crankbait for a reason. It catches fish. So,
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the viewer saw, but like this one is the Rock Crawler 55. If you can't see it on the label, it dives down to like 9 and 14 feet. And me and you were chatting about this earlier about fishing the river. I feel like that 10 to 12 foot range or up to 14 is where a lot of the bigger fish you can catch those bigger fish. And so I felt like that crankbait was a good depth range to try to catch some of those bigger fish. What are your thoughts on like depth wise fishing, like the local river here?
yeah, definitely. I mean, you'll catch the bigger fish up shallow every once in a while, but for every one that you'll catch up shallow, you'll catch 3 or 4 out deeper. So, getting any kind of bait, whether that's a jig or a Texas rig or a net or whatever it is, getting it off the bank, sort of backing out a little bit. One of my buddy's favorite saying is that when you're targeting smallmouth, a lot of times if you're beating the bank, they're actually behind you. So you
Yeah.
need to be fishing out deeper. It's out of our comfort zone as fishermen to not be able to like visually see the cover a lot of times, but definitely to target those bigger fish in the rivers around here, out deeper is better usually.
Yeah, and I think you were able to land one a little bit bigger size than we normally fish this on the river, right? This weekend.
Yeah, it was 16 or 17 inches. That kind of weird looking nose, so maybe it would have been a keeper if it had a normal looking schnoz there. But it was a good fish, almost 3 pounds.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the Spro rock crawler. Do you have your favorite crankbait handy there, and maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about why you like it?
Yeah, man. Confidence bait number one, pretty much. Hopefully, you guys can see that. Okay,
Yeah.
Rapala DT6 here. Nothing special. A lot of guys know about these. It's a pretty standard crankbait nowadays. It's been around for a long time, but the reason I like these is the balsa. It's got a different action. They cast really well still, even for being a wooden bait. The color selection's awesome. This is Disco Shad, which is a really great versatile color. Hopefully you can see it's got a little bit of yellow on the belly. It's got
Yeah.
a little bit of pearl on the top, kind of a white midsection here. So they've got colors in whatever you might want to fish, whatever your forage is. And DT6 for me is it's a great way to cover water. It's a great confidence bait for me just because I've caught a ton of fish on them and caught really good fish. So I've got one sitting over here. Maybe I'll grab it here in a second. That's just been completely beat up and destroyed from just catching so many fish. But I love them.
Nice. Well, we talked a little bit about crankbait, and then the last lure I wanted to talk about was some of these Kitech jigs, and I think you picked up a few too. So this one is the half ounce, and this one is the quarter ounce. I bought 2 jigs in each size and each color, so I have a total of 8 jigs here. You know, when you're buying baits or lures or jigs or whatnot, do you find yourself trying to buy at least like two or three of the same ones? Because it stinks like, you know, if I'm getting a bid on a black and blue half-ounce jig and I get stuck and I have to break off, and it's like, well, dang, now I lost my only bait. And so it kind of stinks when you're buying stuff. I feel like you have to buy multiple items. You kind of get stuck in that trap also.
Yeah, I mean, you do, especially as a co-angler, not being able to take every single bait that's, in the closet here, in my car, in my bag. I can't take everything with me. So I kind of have to develop usually either two or three confidence colors. So it's
Yeah.
usually a green pumpkin based color and then a black and blue based color. So I brought along my favorite jigs. These are Dirty Jigs Scott Canterbury Flippin' Jig.
Yeah.
This is the half ounce in green pumpkin. And the reason that I really love these Scott Canterbury jigs is they're super versatile. So you can do pretty much anything with them. This is the half ounce size in green pumpkin. I also really like the back end blue and Canterbury craw colors, but you can fish them out deep on rock. You can flip them on docks. You can skip them decently. You can even swim them. And so, once again, being a co-angler in the back of the boat, I have a bunch of jigs in the box, but if I don't want to take time to retie in between if I'm between docks, I can flip on in between and then skip it up under, and so on and so forth. So,
Gotcha. Nice. And I feel like that's a regular full size jig. These Kitech jigs that I recently picked up are more of a finesse style, and they're tungsten, not titanium. If Doug, you're watching this, see I said the right word, and you can't give me a hard time. But a lot of times I feel like with the tungsten type stuff, they're smaller jig heads, so it makes them a little bit more finessey. I feel like the bait in the wintertime is a little bit smaller, and so I like that small finessey type stuff. Do you ever fish finesse jigs?
yeah, I do. Matter of fact, this past weekend, I went out to Normandy with one of our buddies, Brett, and caught a decent smallmouth, not a keeper or anything, but a decent smallmouth on one of those exact jigs. If you guys have never seen that tungsten Kitech finesse jig, if you haven't seen it in person, it's really hard to understand just how small
Yeah, I
it
don't
is
have anything
compared to
to
like
compare it to.
a
Actually,
full
I do.
size.
So look, see, this is what's awesome about having
Yeah.
a tackle wall behind me. I can grab a 5/8 jig here.
Yeah, so if you can find one, you can see just how small they are with that tungsten head.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's a full size jig versus I know this one's still in the package. Actually, I'll go ahead and open it up for you all
yeah,
because hey, if you're watching, for my 30 people that watch this, uh, Alex and
appreciate
Aaron
you.
are giving up some juice. Yeah, but
That's
yeah,
right.
look at the difference between these two guys, right? It's tiny, right, Alex?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's basically half the size, and that's a half ounce. Are those both half ounce?
I think this is half ounce. This is 5/8, but I mean it's just barely a
Okay.
little bit bigger.
Yeah, so it's basically half the size, and they're almost
Yeah, and look at
the
the hook
same
size
weight.
difference there.
So the other thing you'll notice about the Kitech is that hook is a lot smaller. But it's about the same wire gauge. It's a really solid jig hook. A lot of times, what you run into with like a finesse style jig or a Ned or something like that, any finesse style bait, they've got these real thin wire hooks, and they're good because you get really good penetration, especially in the winter with the harder mouth on those fish. But they bend out, you lose fish, and this fish that I caught on Friday of this past week, it was sitting in the middle of some woods, so some heavy cover. And once I set the hook, that fish jumped like three times when it was on the boat, on the way back to the boat.
Oh
Never
wow.
came off. So, yeah,
But yeah, I personally, I don't think you fish with me enough here to know that I like finessey stuff, and I just feel like it's easier to get bit sometimes. Our lakes and the rivers around here, they get so much pressure, and luckily it's wintertime here and it's not as busy. But looking forward to fishing these guys. They are a little expensive compared to other
yeah.
jigs, but I feel like it's worth it, and so hopefully I won't lose too many of these guys.
One other cool thing about those, two things actually. So, with them being tungsten, the heads are unpainted, so it's just like a sort of matte gray finish. The nice thing about that is they blend in really well with everything. Doesn't matter if you're fishing, muddy water or clear water; they blend in, and there's no paint being chipped off as you're
Yeah.
fishing them through heavy cover and rocks because there's no paint, so they upkeep really well. And then the size of the jig is imprinted on the side of it, so you always know what you're throwing, which
You're
is
never
nice.
guessing, right?
Yep.
Well, cool, man. I think we've covered all the different things that we wanted to chat about, and hopefully the viewers are still with us. Wanted to try to keep this video a little bit shorter, but if you all leave me a comment on the video and say, "Hey, y'all want some more of these videos, or you want me to go a little bit more in detail," just let us know because I'm sure Alex, you probably got a few different things en route to you too, right?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff planned. We'll have the Normandy video here coming out on the channel here soon. I'm going to do a tackle bag breakdown of my Shimano tackle bag for conglers and bank fishermen. And then I'm going to start breaking down my past tournament season here pretty soon. So those will be very insightful. If any of you guys want to get into tournaments, I'm going to be very honest and blunt about the money I spent, the hours, the travel, stuff like that, the stuff that you actually want to know rather than just talking about how I did. So stay tuned for that.
No, I think that'd be super insightful. I don't really care to fish for tournaments, but just kind of talking to you and hearing about your results and whatnot, it's got me kind of interested in fishing it. But then I think about like the crappy weather, and then when it's raining, like, man, I really don't want to be out there, and then had to pay to fish in those tournaments. But I don't know, it might change my mind after watching your videos. And so, Alex, before we go, anything else that you want to mention to the group or to look forward to?
Not much, man. I appreciate you having me on. If you're not subscribed to my channel, it's Alex Roberts Fishing on YouTube. I'm also pretty active on Instagram, so hit me up with a follow there if you want more daily content. But dude, I appreciate you having me on. We always have fun talking fishing, so hopefully I'll see you soon.
All right, man. We'll close out today's video. Thanks for watching. All right.